I recently read an article on AARP's website about the 5 worst mistakes grandparents make with their money. And 2 of the areas it touched upon were opening 529 plans for the grandchildren and assisting them with their student loans. Now, while grandparents are known to bask in the glory of spoiling their grandchildren and doing lots of extras for them, such as shopping sprees, buying a car, giving them snacks they shouldn't, grandparents are also now supporting their education. But what happens in the event of a divorce if either the kids' parents are getting divorced or the grandparents themselves? Well, joining us to explain is Donna LaScala, president of Comprehensive Divorce Solutions in New York. Donna is a certified divorce financial analyst, a financial neutral, board member of the Association of Divorce Financial Planners, and president of the Long Island chapter of Financial Planning Association. Donna, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. So, many grandparents open and fund a 529 college account for their grandchildren. But what happens if the grandchild's parents are getting a divorce? Is that 529 account considered to be a marital asset for the couple getting a divorce, or the account has no bearing on the divorce because it was the grandparents who set it up?
So this is a really complicated question, honestly, because there's a lot of things that you need to know about a 529 before you even discuss what's happening to it. And when I'm working as a financial neutral with a mediator or with collaborative attorneys, I really try to encourage people to take the 529 account off the table, because the ultimate beneficiary is the grandchild or the child. And by pulling that money back as part of the marital estate, who are you really hurting? You're hurting the child or the grandchild. So getting back to your question, if it's the grandparent's money that has been funding the account and the parent of the child is getting divorced, it's really not part of the marital assets, because it's somebody else's money. If the grandparents themselves are getting divorced, it's a little bit more complicated, because if the account is in one of their names, technically it's their money. And that was the primary reason for 529 accounts to actually be created, so that there was sort of a firewall between whose money it was and who was the beneficiary of the money, because you really don't want to put money into a child's name directly. So the 529 is a good vehicle for that. But then when you start to talk about undoing something that had been created, there are ramifications. There can be penalties, there will be taxes, and it's very difficult to decide what to do with this money when there are those ramifications.
Yeah, I want to also talk to you about if a person wants to take the money out. We'll say grandparent A was, the one who opened it and had it in their name. Are they allowed, to do that, to pay, the legal bills and anything else? I know you touched upon there are ramifications. 1, are they allowed to do it? And 2, can you elaborate what those ramifications are?
Sure. So the ultimate goal of the 529 is to fund higher education. So when you keep that in mind, when it was created, the 529 was specifically meant for the funding of higher education, and the benefit of it was that if you put your money into a 529 and you own the account, you can get a tax reduction credit for doing so, and then when the money goes out and is used to pay for those higher education expenses, it's tax-free. Now, those are very attractive gifting methodologies for funding a child's education, because it does go by the federal tax rules for gifting. So there are limitations per year and so forth. If the money is taken out and is not used to pay for higher education expenses, there will be a penalty, and there will also be taxes on the growth of the money. So if $10,000 was put in and $15,000 is taken out, not for education expenses, the $5,000 difference there, which represents the growth, will be taxed, and there will be a penalty. So those are certain things that have to be considered. The question of, can you do this? Absolutely. You can always take your money back, but should you is really the question here. Should you do that? Is there another way to deal with this? And it goes back to who's the owner. So the first question you asked me, what happens when someone's getting divorced, whether it's the parents or the grandparents? It depends who owns the account. Because even if the grandparents are giving their child the money to then put into the child's 529, if the parent is the owner, it gets a little bit more complicated, because how do you prove that it's not your money? Because it's in your name. You're the owner. So if I'm parent A and my parents were giving me money to put into the 529, yeah, technically it's their money, but they gifted it to me. I put it into the 529 account. I'm the owner. My child is the beneficiary. Now try to convince somebody that it's not your money. So it gets complicated.
What happens if a grandparent co-signs for a student loan? A lot of kids take them out so they can go to college for their grandchildren. Are they still obligated to pay if the grandparent is now going through a divorce? And I say that because we are seeing the biggest uptick in the divorce rate in what's called the gray divorce, those 50 and older.
So this is probably going to blow a lot of people's minds. First of all, co-signing for any kind of loan with your child or your grandchild, you really have to understand what it is that you are undertaking, because as a co-signer, you are legally responsible for that loan. So again, it also depends on what type of loan it is, because there are government-sponsored loans and there are private loans that kids can take out to go to college. If you're the co-signer of any one of those, again, you are responsible. So if it's the grandparent and they co-sign for a student loan and then they're going to get divorced, okay, well, is it grandparent A that's responsible? Is it grandparent B? Whose name is the actual co-signer? Is it considered marital debt? Yes, it can be, because it was done during the marriage. Doesn't necessarily matter who is the co-signer. It was done during the marriage. In addition to which, if that loan goes into default, if it's a federal loan, and let's say it's 20 years from now, and the grandparent is on Social Security benefits, if that loan goes into default and it's a federal loan, the federal government can actually take the payment out of your Social Security benefits. Let me say that one more time. If you default on a federal student loan, a portion of what you owe can be taken out of your Social Security benefits. If it's a private loan, they can't do that. A private lender cannot go after your Social Security benefit, but they can take you to court and sue you. So there are absolutely huge ramifications for doing this. And then when you're talking about divorce, it gets even more complicated, because say it's really parent A, grandparent A's name that is on the co-signer, but it was marital debt, and now it's determined that both of them are on the hook when that loan goes into default. The federal government's not going to care who it is. They're going to go after both of you.
Wow, good information. Such an important topic that people are probably going to want to learn more on, because the class of 2025, a lot of them are starting to apply for college, and a lot of them are waiting to hear back and anxious to make a decision. So, Donna, if people want to learn more, because everybody is in college mode right now, how can they get in touch with you?
The easiest way is to call me at 516-234-7522, or go to my website, Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, and you can get in touch with me.
Donna LaScala, President of Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, thank you so much for joining us. Don't go anywhere, because we will be right back after this commercial break. Stick around.
At Comprehensive Divorce Solutions, Donna LaScala provides the tools for people to deal with assets, debts, equitable distribution, and retirement in divorce negotiations. We hold your hand during and after the divorce process, providing a roadmap of what happens next and into the future. Divorce is difficult whether you're initiating it or not. It's fraught with emotion. When you deal with emotions, you are not dealing with logic, making it more difficult to decide what to do with your money. Hiring a professional to assist you in walking down the money path is crucial to avoiding potentially costly mistakes. Donna's goal is to make sure that each individual knows how they are going to be able to survive and thrive during and after divorce. As a CDFA-trained mediator and collaborative financial neutral, Donna helps people get unstuck and move forward towards their post-divorce future. Call Donna LaScala at 516-218-6919, 516-218-6919.